A Dog Named Beau by, by Jimmy Stewart. He'd never come when I'd call, unless, of course, I had a tennis ball, or if he just felt like it, but mostly he didn't come at all. When he was young, he never learned to heel or to sit or to stay. He did things his way. Discipline was not his bag. If you were with him, things sure didn't drag. He'd tear up the rose bushes just to spite me. And when I'd grab him, he'd turn around and bite me. He bit lots of folks from day to day. The delivery boy was his favorite prey. The gas man wouldn't read our meter. He said we owned a real man-eater. He set the house on fire, but that story's long to tell. Suffice it to say, Beau survived, and the house survived as well. On evening walks, Gloria would take him. He was always the first out the door, and the old one and I took up the rear because our bones were sore. He would charge up the street, and Mama hanging on. What a beautiful pair they were. And if it was still light out and the neighbors were out, they made quite a stir. But every once in a while he would stop in his tracks, and with a frown on his face, he'd look around, just to make sure that the old one was there to follow him where he was bound. Well, we're early to bedders at our house. I guess I'm always the first one to retire. And as I'd leave the room, he'd get up from his place by the fire. Because he knew where the tennis balls were upstairs. And I'd give him one for a while. He'd push it under the bed with his nose, and I'd retrieve it with a smile. But before long, he'd tire of the ball, and he'd be asleep in no time at all. But there were nights when I'd feel him climb up on the bed and lie between us, and I'd reach out and pet his head. And there were nights when I'd feel this stare. I'd wake up and I'd see him sitting there. And I'd reach out my hand to stroke his hair. And sometimes I'd feel him sigh, and I think I know the reason why. See, he'd wake up at night and he would have this fear of the dark, of life, of a lot of things. But he'd be glad to have me near. And now he's dead. And there are nights when I think I feel him climb up on the bed and lie between us, and I reach out to pat his head. There are nights when I think I feel that stare, and I reach my hand out to stroke his hair, but he's not there. Oh, I wish it wasn't so. But I'll always love a dog named Beau.